humans. Happy Saturday. We have 11 people waiting. Nice magical number to get started. Hello, hello. Say hi. Happy Saturday. I'm excited to be here with you all to do some Akashic readings and healings. We're going to jump into the Akashic Records together because everybody typically says on these lives that they like to jump in together. So we're going to do that in just a minute. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Laura Mazzata. I am an Akashic Records channel, a holistic therapist of 20 years, and a consciousness mentor. And I am here to welcome you into intimacy with your own soul, into the potency of your own wisdom that comes forward as I connect to the Akashic Records, which holds all the codes of your soul in any lifetime, not just this one. So we are going to start here in a second with opening up the Akashic Records. But first and foremost, I always say, please hold your questions until I prompt you. And if you see a bunch of questions listed, I encourage you to wait until those have been answered, because otherwise we're all going to be pausing and waiting for me to scroll like a mad woman. I usually end up doing some scrolling anyway, but let's try to keep it to a minimum so that we can spend more time bringing in all the juicy goodness. So can somebody please say hi so that I know that the chat is working? Because so far I'm not seeing anything, and I want to make sure that I can see all of your questions as they pop up. Thank you so much. Hi, Aurelius. I really appreciate it. Cool. At least I know the chat's working so that I can see your questions and I'm not sitting here saying, why isn't anyone asking anything? All right. Hi, hello. And everybody's coming out of the word work. Welcome. I so appreciate you guys being here. Okay. So first of all, two things. One, we are still in the midst of Lionsgate. Technically, that sucker closes tomorrow, but my personal opinion is that this energy is going to kind of dwindle out based on you, right? Based on how you feel intuitively, how you feel in your body, because every single one of us hold these energies differently and move these energies differently. So don't get too caught up in the date. But I really wanted to offer an Akashic readings and healings during Lionsgate because we have so much more light hitting the planet. And it doesn't mean that, oh, you have to harness this during this time or you're screwed, right? It just means like, take advantage of it, right? Take advantage of the fact that this is an opportunity to get welcomed more into aspects of yourself that you may not have previously been aware of or seen. And we get to be with those today. We get to be present with those and allow ourselves to come into even deeper immersion with our own divinity. And it's a beautiful time to do that. I find Lionsgate really powerful. I have people reaching out to me all the time right now, particularly during this period of time, just like, whoa, I'm waking up, and I'm seeing things in myself that I haven't seen. And whoa, what is this shifting? And what is this? I'm actually moving towards what I've always wanted, and feeling infinite blessings. So it's a really beautiful time to celebrate what it has come forward within you and also what is still there to show itself. So without further ado, let's jump into the Akashic Records. If you are new to the Akashic Records and you have not experienced them before, I'm going to drop a link to my YouTube video for how to open the Akashic Records for beginners. And this will give you an opportunity to get to know the space a little bit more and to start bringing through messages, open your own Akashic record. People use this video over and over and over and over again to be able to just have somebody take them in. And sometimes it's really nice and helpful to have someone else take you into the Akashic Records when you're getting started versus going in yourself, because then you're not focused, you're not thinking about it. You get to just kind of relax and receive and let somebody guide you in. Okay. So let's open the records. Everybody here, close your eyes, please. Unless you're driving. Please do not close your eyes if you're driving. Oh, good. You're welcome, Aurelius. Thank you for watching. All right. And take a nice deep breath in. I recommend grounding the feet and opening the palms on the exhale. Allowing your breath to move slowly, deeply, and widely as you relax the jaw, soften the face, loosen tension in the body. Open the crown just above the top of the head. And just allow your breath to come in through the crown, extending all the way down through the root space into the earth. And then pulling your next inhale up from the earth into the body. And extending all the way up beyond the crown. Just allow your breath to move like this a couple more times at your own pace. Welcoming in all of our guides, loved ones, angels, and ascended masters. Calling in the highest light and divine intelligence. And after your next breath in, we will open the Akashic Records on the exhale. The records are now open. Welcoming in your particular guides, loved ones, angels, and ascended masters to be present here in this space with this community. And just feeling into any energy that's coming forward for you as we enter this space. Giving yourself a few breaths of just sacred presence with your own field and your own team. Whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. Take a drink of water if you'd like. It helps move the energy. All right. So I am here to receive what it is you desire to receive from the Akash today. Remembering that when we ask questions, we want to keep them fairly open-ended, yet specific. And you can see some examples in the description of this video and other posts I've put up, or let other people go first. And then you can see what they ask so that we can extract or return to the magic that exists in this space that we have just gotten distracted from receiving because we're humans in the human sauce. Hi, Richard. Thank you. What's the highest timeline for the collective? Oh, this is fascinating because I did a channeling last night, which I'll tell you about in a minute. It was funny because I wasn't really able to tap in so much. I wasn't receiving much from myself, but I got more of this collective download and light activation, which was really beautiful. So I can share that in a little bit, but I am deeply connected to that question right now. So thank you for bringing that forward. Okay. So it's really interesting because what's coming forward around this is very related to what came through last night. They keep bringing me to this concept of connecting to the oceans. And bringing in like the magnetism and the frequency that gets absorbed by the water. This is actually what came forward last night. It's like this collaboration by the water is what they're showing me, right? Kind of having everybody come to, which is a little different from last night, but like coming to the water's edge and like holding hands, right? And intentionally receiving the magnetism and the frequency that's held in the water, because water is more absorbent than land. And so it absorbs these frequencies of the universe more. And so one of the things that comes forward is kind of coming into holding hands around the coastline, which is so cool. Like, how cool would it be if we could coordinate that? Of course we can coordinate that. To bring in people holding hands around the ocean's edge and bringing in these frequencies in a collective way and just allowing yourself to be present. And in this, not only are we feeling the exchange of light between each other, but we're also receiving deeply and allowing it to be infused through us, so that as we kind of come back from the water's edge, we're infusing this into the collective. And what's coming through here too is just this recognition that everyone is a reflection of us. And we talk about this all the time, like, that other people are mirrors of ourselves, but really pausing. And this is something I've been doing a lot more lately. And it's brought so much more of a sustainable softness, right? Which is this sensation of when you're going to feel reactive or, I guess reactive is the best word there, because even if it's emotionality, a lot of that emotionality is reactive. It's really recognizing and claiming that we are all vessels and messengers of source. And we are all here to bring the light and the love of source onto the planet. And so I don't care how somebody's acting. Everyone is deserving of love. Everyone is desiring of love. Right. And so it's being able to kind of put yourself aside and allow source energy to move through you towards that person. Like you're a conduit, right? You're this vessel of just deliverance of source information and making it less about you, right? And so it's funny because it's like you make it about you to identify that you're this vessel of source, and by claiming responsibility for that role, and then release it being about you, because then it's not draining from you, right? It's coming through you. And I think that this image of us kind of around the edges of the ocean is really beautiful, because it brings us to that palpable sensation of the fact that we are receiving at the same time that we're offering, right? To make ourselves an offering. What are you being called to do to make yourself an offering of source to the planet? And it's in that recognition, and it's not just, I think sometimes we can come into this, oh, well, I'm going to choose me. And then it becomes too much about us a lot of the time. And so it's, yes, I'm going to choose me because I am of service, because I desire to be the highest conduit, the cleanest conduit for source energy to move through me, because I desire for the purity of that energy to come through me with less refinement of my human. Obviously, it's going to carry notes of my human energy, because my soul chose this particular blueprint for a reason, to deliver source energy in a way that comes through uniquely, to speak to the people that are meant to receive from me in a way that they're going to get the way I say it. Some of you are going to follow me. Some of you are going to follow somebody else who does the Akashic Records, right? That speaks this energy differently. So I think it's taking that responsibility. So let me know how that feels, Richard. But I'm a little fired up about that one. I could probably talk about it for this entire hour, to be honest with you, and go into my entire channeling from last night, etc. But, and one of the things that they said was, considering the oceans absorb so much frequency, right? Why do you think that the Mediterranean diet is what everybody exclaims as the healthiest, right? They eat so much fish. And it's like, that's what Source was saying last night, actually Mother Earth, because I was calling Mother Earth in last night when I was channeling. And she was just like, you got to eat more fish, people, right? You got to eat more fish. Like, allow yourself to receive these codes that are more easily absorbed by water beings than they are by us, right? It's like this beautifully, naturally infused spiritual food. So anyway, that was just one of the things that came forward last night. But yeah, I could talk about this all day. Okay. All right. Rachna or Rachna, sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. I have had stomach bloating for the last 20 years. How do I heal this aspect of myself? As soon as I eat food, my stomach bloats. Beautiful. You're welcome, Richard. Thanks for asking it. I'm all jazzed now. You got me pumped right away. Okay. Tuning into your stomach, babe. First of all, there's nothing to heal, right? Like, there's nothing wrong. It's just like, what am I meant to know? What am I meant to see? What am I meant to receive? And integrate? Because to me, it's telling me that, okay, there's a couple layers here, and I want to see what they want to start with. Okay. So there's a few layers to this. The first one is really around, they're going to take this step by step. When you go to eat something, I don't know if you've ever practiced muscle testing. And you can do this with, sorry, my hair's driving me crazy today, you guys. I can't stand it. When you do muscle testing, you can do it with your fingers, where it's kind of like, okay, am I meant to drink this water? Is my name Laura? Is my name Michelle? Right? Like, you kind of test to see whether something is for you, whether your field is drawn to it or whether your field is not drawn to it. So I'll do this with supplements. Sometimes you can do this with foods as well. Okay. So, if you have a food that you're about to intake, it's kind of like put it in your field, and you can do this with your body too. I like doing it with my body more, where it's just closing your eyes and seeing, is your body moving toward that food or away from that food? And you identify whether it's something that is for you. So you can kind of start there. The other piece is to be really intentional and to create some healing, offering Reiki and energy to what you're taking in. And so I bless my food all the time before I eat, and often with my water before I drink as well. And so you can bless those things, but also be really intentional about the way that it's meant to serve you, because that's the other layer to this, is that you get to be in mastery of how foods affect you. You get to be in conviction as to how foods affect you. This is actually something that I've started to work on myself as well, because I haven't eaten gluten and dairy in years, and a few other things as well. And so it's just starting to come into relationship with the frequency of these foods that we're taking in, and bringing them into an alignment with our frequency, right? So it's taking more of a space of mastery rather than being a victim of what you eat. So that's another piece of this. Bringing it into the digestive piece. There's something there with your digestive process that you're having trouble digesting. And this is symbolic, right? From a spiritual and energetic perspective, it's symbolic. So for me, what's coming forward through this channel is it feels challenging for your body to digest the depths of nutrients and nourishment that your field desires to immerse in. And so there's some fear there. There's some avoidance there. I'm feeling a little bit of like avoidant attachment vibes here, where you're kind of like avoiding the deep immersion in all of you and all aspects of yourself. And there's a part of you that you still feel disgusted with, that just kind of rears its head and says, you know what, this doesn't sit well with me. And some of this comes along like the self-criticism, self-deprecation lines. And so being really aware of how you're speaking to yourself and bringing a lot of self-compassion in. Of course, you can put your hands on your lower belly and you can send this energy down into the earth, but it's agitated, right? It's agitated, it's angry, it's frustrated. And we want that toxicity to release, right? We want that to release. And so you want to bring in more harmony into your entire chakra system. And that begins with your foundational pieces here, which are your root and your sacral space, which is where the bloat is happening most likely, right? And so the more that you can bring spiritual energy into deeper embodiment and allow yourself to not just, oh, this sounds like a cool concept, or I'm connected to it in my heart, but I haven't anchored my spiritual energy deeply into the body, right? The more you can do that, the easier this is going to be for you, because what you're doing is you're electing to more deeply digest all layers of who you are at the greatest depth, right? Like I was talking to a client the other day and we were talking about this deep level of embodiment. And she was like, yeah, no, I do. When I immerse, I feel all tingly, like my whole body can feel it when I really immerse, rather than just like pulling cards or just like, okay, I'm doing my meditation and then moving on, instead of just taking that energy that's coming through and allowing yourself to be with it, like to really soak in it. And I always tell people, visualize that you're laying down, or actually lay down and visualize Mother Earth energy coming up, source energy coming in through the back of the crown so that it's going down the back body, and allowing those two energies to mix. And then you're kind of laying in this pool of just magic, right? And high level frequency nourishment and divine love, and just be, and let it just absorb into you like a sponge. Right. And so that's a really beautiful way to do it. But you can also, after you've done immersive energy work, go take a walk, move the body. Being out in nature is my favorite thing when I'm moving, but it might be different for you. You could do yoga, qigong, any other type of exercise, but Allow the body's tissues to really massage this energy that's been awakened and go deeper into the body. So I know that was a lot, but that's what was coming forward. So you're welcome for all that information this morning. Nina, hi, honey. Happy Saturday. What guidance is available for me today regarding my current plunge into sharing my channelings in my private group? I'm so excited about your private group. Okay. Well, the first thing is that you're doing amazing. I was going to message you actually and be like, you are on fire, girl. Like, you're doing it. I'm so proud of you. But let me tune into this. I'm going to take my human out of this. I'm going to tune into this for you. All right. Okay. They want to do this in a way that's really, gentle on your nervous system and you're human and allows you to feel like you're easing a little bit. Even though you've already started this process, they want you to recognize this process already been started, which I think you know. But they're saying, start by doing like a live card pull. You don't even have to do it live. You can record a video and just do a card pull, because that way you have a little bit of a structure and a scaffolding with the cards. So it's not entirely reliant on just your raw channel. And when you pull these cards, you can kind of piece them together. You can tell a story when you pull a few cards. You're good at this. You're used to this, right? And bring in wisdom that comes through this spread. Starting with that, just so that people can really see your face, feel your energy, and receive raw channeling that comes in a little bit more ad lib as you're reading cards. So it doesn't feel like you're fully exposed there with your channeling. So that's step one. And the other piece is just opening like sacred, reverent space in that community. So this could be you just, again, going live and being quiet the entire time. And during this quiet time, you're opening space for you, for them to, if you want to write, write. If you want to speak, speak. If you want to chant, chant. Whatever's coming through you, light language, whatever, let it come through. Leaving yourself the opportunity to just write if you desire to write. And then you can share your writing later if you desire to. But it offers you a little bit more exposure there at the same time that what's most important, and this gets reiterated to you in this process, what's most important is the vibration of what's coming through, not the content, not the words that are coming through your mouth. And I think that's what we get caught up on when we're channeling. It's like, well, did what I say made sense? And like, what the hell am I talking about? Right. And we get like, we create meaning and narratives and fear in the mind and body around like, does this make sense? Am I crazy? Right. All these things. And so I think that that practice is going to really assist you with detaching from the actual words that are coming out of your mouth and being more present with the fact that it's truly your energy and the frequency you are emitting that impacts people, and you'll witness that impact. And let me know how that feels, because then you're going to know exactly what to do after that. Like, you're just going to be, your momentum's going to be moving. All right. Wealthy with Connect United. Hi, Laura. I have my end dream of having a farm for women, and children. Stays. Is this correct for me? That feels really beautiful. I'm getting chills up and down my spine. And I'm going to disconnect my desire from this, which is really like, oh, that sounds amazing. We need more of this on our planet. Thank you. But let me tune in. Don't call this an end dream, by the way. Do not call this an end dream and like truncate yourself and limit yourself there, my friend. This is so realistic. So this is interesting, because what they're bringing forward is they're focusing a little bit on your terminology here around, is this correct for me? And that's what they want you to realize is like, does this feel good for you? It has nothing to do with who you're bringing in or whether it's quote unquote successful in the traditional sense, right? Like, is this something you want to do? Because that's what they're showing me is like, they're like, focus more on the fact that you want to do this. Like, it's just fun and it's enjoyable and it's nourishing and it feels like deep, deep service, right? And if that feels really alive within your body and like deeply enriching, yes, that is 100% yes for you. And then comes the trust of people arriving to that because of what you embody as you do it, like enjoying the process, recognizing that it is for you and that the extension of that is going to be something that's naturally felt, right? There was something else coming forward. Let me just see. Yeah, they were reminding me of this card that I pulled for my spiritual service. And by the way, the next one is on September 8th. If you guys want to join, it's on Zoom, and I don't do replays. I just, anybody who's, and it's completely complimentary, but they're so beautiful, you guys. Anyway, so I pulled a card and it was the grandmother of Jesus as part of the spread. And it was beautiful because, and it's making me think of this exact vibration. I'm going to read it to you. She represents the quiet dedication that is sometimes required to live a life of service. She represents the generations that came before that devoted their lives to dreaming a new world into being while knowing they would not see the glorious end result. And I thought this was such a beautiful message because it's like, can you do this because it feels right for you, because you feel called to it, because it feels deeply nourishing and enriching, because it brings you into a vibration that feels so yummy that of course you desire other people to feel, knowing that you are planting deep seeds in this, right? No pun intended with the farm, but you're planting deep seeds in this, and that don't get attached to the outcome of what that's going to look like for other people, and instead trust that you're paying it forward by doing what you're called to do, right? So this is 100% for you, and they want you to bask in that and appreciate the process of that and allow it to be a calling that gently guides you forward and pulls you forward. That isn't this end dream, but that this is a right now reality that exists within your field that will unfold as you deepen your faith in the fact that this is for you. Okay. So let me know how that feels, my love. And thank you for the question. And thank you for the dream, because that's beautiful. All right, Missy. Hi, honey. The Lion's Gate has revealed some small pockets of vulnerability and fear of abandonment. Yep. I've been clearing each day, but I need to work with the energy every day to keep it moving. I feel that it's like, I've seen a lot of that in the field, to be honest. Thank you for sharing that here, because I think that a lot of people probably need to hear and feel their reflections in this right now. It has felt a lot like that lately, where it's like, oh, it's like a full-time job to keep my energy centered. You know what I mean? And it can feel frustrating and tiring. And so it's really at those times that we're meant to rest in source, right? That we can feel like we are trying too hard. I wouldn't focus on clearing so much, to be honest with you, because that intention is really coming from a place of lack. It's coming from a place of, oh, there's something here that shouldn't be. And instead, what I would request for you to do, what they're requesting for you to do, is to come into communion with source and allow the love of source to automatically move and shift what needs to be shifted, rather than you going into an intentional clearing, right? Because what's going to happen is when source energy comes in and really immerses with you, and you can also call up Mother Earth within this visual and this experience as well, but just allow them to be present in the body, allow them to come into the body, bring them into embodiment, and allow them to just move, like do their thing, do what they need to do. And they're going to shift this energy in the way that it is needed to be shifted. They're going to illuminate where things need to be illuminated. And they're most likely going to bring in an awareness, Missy, that this has nothing to do with you. These pockets of vulnerability and fear of abandonment are not yours. They are collective energy that's being cleared right now. And given where you are with your level of consciousness and your work, of course, that's going to be the case at a time like Lion's Gate, when we're so tapped in to this illumination on the planet and we're seeing more, right? And so don't make it about you. Detach the meaning from yourself and allow this to just be an alchemy that's occurring as you're present with Source and Mother Earth, okay? Make it more of less of an intentionally human process and more of a, this is the time when Source gets to hold us, especially when we're talking about fear of abandonment. and vulnerability, right? Because where do we want to be mostly vulnerable and soft and fully us? With source, right? So allow yourself to bear all of you to source and or Mother Earth. So it's like you're exposing yourself to that fear a bit at the same time that you're resting and allowing the energy to be moved and divine love to alchemize. Okay. Emma, what do I need to know about my current situation? And if there is anything that can make it better? I'm just going to give you guys a little Reiki for a second, just to. Okay. Okay. They're bringing in some kind of bold guidance here for you, Emma. And they're bringing in, you're being invited to emancipate yourself from this situation. And that doesn't mean walk away from it. That doesn't mean close doors, none of that. It means energetically emancipate yourself from it, because your sovereignty internally is compromised by the fact that you're in this situation. And that's something that you have control over, choosing and deciding, I will not allow my light to be dimmed, right? And I desire for my light to shine brightly. And there is no one or nothing in my life that is going to interfere with me shining my light brightly. And that's your choice. I realized this years ago too, when there were some situations going on in my life that I was just like, geez, like just the manipulation and the gaslighting and all these things. And I was just like, you know, my quote here from Eleanor Roosevelt, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent, right? I'm like, dude, if I want to go achieve a dream, I am not in a place where I can't achieve my dream because of so-and-so, because of such and such. I get to choose whatever the hell I want. Does that mean I'll make waves? Sometimes, yeah, that will. But it's like, what feels more important for me? And it's like, it's kind of like that saying of, when we choose fear over our light, we're making it more important. When we choose those attachments over our light, like what's most important? What's most important? The intelligence of source. I was just talking to someone yesterday, and I was talking about this, where I was like, you know, I've been a therapist for 20 years, went to grad school, have worked with high-level professionals my entire life. And I'm like, there's never been a day that I have not been blown away by the intelligence that comes through the divine that doesn't even come close to touching what is on this planet, no matter how freaking smart we are, right? And so it's recognizing your choice in the higher intelligence and the light that's emanating through you, and being able to choose your own sovereignty in the execution of your own light and the embodiment of your own light. And in so doing, that situation will unfold in the way that it's meant, whether it's toward you, away from you, or taking new form within your current space. Okay. All right. So let me know how that feels for you, Emma. Sonkela, you dropped this at 11 a.m. Eastern. Magical. Hello. What should I know? What should I know now that I don't know or don't see? Okay. How clearly discerning you are, how your immediate responses to things are divinely led. Like, you're not somebody who gets stuck in reactivity for an extended period of time. You're somebody who can trust your responsiveness as it comes up in the moment, and they want you to practice this more. They want you to practice more of Like, almost it's funny because when I first tuned into this, they took me right to your third eye and they were like, "The answer to this is your power." Right? And I was just like, "Oh, that's so cliched. Like, give me something more." That's where I was in there with them. I was like, "Come on, really?" Um, and but it's kind of true. It's like they want you to claim this fact that of course you know. Of course your discernment is incredibly sharp and clean and crisp. And you're somebody who gets to claim and decide and own that you're someone who knows and sees through things like this. And they want you to start owning that more and expressing that more. So that's what's coming through around that, Sankala. Petra, I love my spouse and he is a cross-dresser. I struggle a lot with his desire to cross-dress as it is not my preference. At the moment, I cannot see, feel, know what is best for us all. What can I do now? Don't make me repeat my my favorite mantra ever, right? I trust the journey of my loved ones and release attachment to it. So okay, what's coming forward here is primarily stop focusing on your partner, stop focusing on him and focus more on yourself, right? Because it's like when you're focusing on him and like even you two as a couple, right? It's like, okay, I'm focusing on us. What do we need to do? I'm focusing on him. This bothers me that he does. Okay. Well, to me, that tells me that there needs to be a little bit more detachment, right? And by the way, I am not at all dismissing the stress and the confusion that might come up for you in this situation because it doesn't feel like it's in alignment with how you, like you said, is not your preference. We also want to separate from ego preference, right? We want to separate from ego preference because ego preference is going to bring up fear, judgment, confusion. All of that is of the mind and an extension of the nervous system a lot of the time as well. And so instead, it's like, can you connect with him entirely from your soul to his soul and allow your relationship to be anchored more in the soul space rather than in the human space? Because when it's anchored in the soul space, you then get more clarity as to whether or not this is something that you're meant to have unfold as an intimate partnership or in the way that you've been doing it in this particular lifetime. And you will have your clarity. But I think it's you trying to access this from the mind it's just going to be muddy and it's going to get you into more confusion. And it's not something you're necessarily going to understand because it feels in conflict and dissonance with where your preference currently is. So I think it's connecting to the soul to soul with him and getting out of this more intentional cognitive focus around him and around you two as a couple, and instead focusing on something similar to what I was just saying earlier around your own sovereignty, around your own path, your own light, and continuing to pursue that, and then allowing the unfoldment to be, right? So I would focus on that soul to soul connection. I would focus on shifting your mind focus from him and the two of you collectively to just you and your sovereignty and your relationship with source. Okay, that's what's coming forward. You're welcome, Sankala. My husband losing his job and the possibility of moving across the country again. Thank you. Oh, it's a big one, Emma. Yeah. Okay. M9D5U. Hi, I'm feeling directionless in my career. I'm looking for more clarity and direction. Where did that just go? There it is. Okay. And thank you guys for kind of pausing some of the questions so I don't have to scroll back too much. Appreciate it. Okay. Your career is a direct extension of your own clarity, of the edges of who you are. So the question here is, how much do you know yourself? How intimately are you in connection with yourself? And sometimes when we ask this question, we don't get an answer. And sometimes when we go into intimacy with ourselves and we feel we are very intimate with ourselves, we're still not getting an answer. And so sometimes the answer, and this is what's feeling aligned right now for you, is a pause, right? Not necessarily going into having a conscious understanding of where your career is meant to go, but instead a full, wholehearted, holistic picture and sensation of all of you, your mental, physical, emotional, energetic, spiritual layers, all coming together into this beautifully integrated whole, right? And as you're with all of you, it's then bringing in the soul, bringing in your higher self, ideally, into embodiment. And I'm doing this right now for you, allowing it to move you to speak. So I'm going to see what comes forward here. I'm feeling an environment that feels like family, that feels like intimate family. And they want you to focus less on where you're going in your career and more on the people that you connect with that make you feel comforted, safe, playful, raw, authentic, you, as raw as you can get in a professional environment, let's be real. And it's not the career, it's the community. Because what they're saying is that I'm feeling this, your higher self is really communicating this sensation of belonging, this sensation of connection, of feeling like you're part of something. And that regardless of what you actually do task-wise in your work, you know and feel that you are forwarding things in your career because of like the connection and the frequency that gets elevated in this group that you're part of. So that's more important. And the best way to be able to identify and connect with that is to be in space with all of you, right? Because I think, especially when we're looking at career stuff, there's so much mind chatter that goes on, you guys. Like, so much mind chatter and so much conditioning that's wrapped up in that, around how much money you make, around how successful you are, around what your position is. So many things, around being productive and being tied to productivity and all of this, right? And so it's like we really want this when we're shifting in this area or looking to shift. It's, where am I being naturally drawn? Where are my core gifts most readily received and impactful? Because your natural gifts are not going to feel like effort, right? They're not going to feel like effort. And so it's really being connected to those natural gifts and allowing yourself to be present with them that allows the flow to unfold in a way that doesn't feel like you have to search and think and rack your brain. Okay. Aurelius, hi, good morning. I need to identify who my spiritual guide or spiritual team, sorry, I lost it, besides God's source, is involved with my life to increase the effectiveness of communications. Okay. To increase the effectiveness of communications is what I'm focusing on. Because I will share here, can it be helpful to understand who our spiritual guide or spiritual team is? Yes. Why? We really want to answer that question for our minds, right? Because we want our minds to be satisfied with knowing this information, because at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter who's guiding us. I think what matters more is like, what are the energies and the frequencies like that I can work with and get connected to increase the effectiveness of communication. So I'm just going to tune into this concept of increasing the effectiveness of communication. And if guides come forward to show themselves because you're meant to integrate that, awesome. So let's see. Okay, they're saying you're already increasing the effectiveness of your communication. Like it's already happening, it's already underway. So trust that, number one. Number two, they're definitely bringing in an archangel around this, Aurelius. Definitely bringing in an archangel. Interesting. I'm feeling Uriel, which I think came through my last live too. Yeah, because there's like a softness there. There's a softness there that's being brought in through Archangel Uriel that they want you to rest in. Like, right? I feel too much, almost like too much forcefulness with communication. And that could even be efforting in the background. But they want this like softening and this like, okay, breathe. Like, it's almost like that less is more mantra, saying less, observing more. Because for a couple of reasons. One is you're not getting in your head, you're not getting into any kind of like intentionally responsive space. It's just like this soft receptivity and observation and like a non-judgmental witnessing. And in that, you're acting as source, right? You're acting as source. And so when that happens, like I said earlier, I love how these themes every time show up on these lives. That you're going to be emanating and that the emanation is communication. And that when you do speak, it's going to land in a very soft, alchemical way where the receiver is going to be kind of like, whoa, okay. I need to sit with that. But it's not harsh, right? Archangel Uriel, 100%. Too eager. Yeah, which comes from reactivity. And some of that reactivity is excitement, right? Like some of that is just like, ooh, like, and that used to happen to me too. Things would come through and I'd just be like, oh my gosh, like this is so good, right? That's still an ego preference. That's still like a reactivity around like excitement and gotta, right? Rather than this, like, okay, we even get to share that excitement with source. We get to ground it into us. And I think for you, it's kind of handing this communication to Uriel, allowing that archangel to soften it and to bring in the pause a little bit, right? Bring in the pause and just allow a little space for that softening and for that source embodiment to come through. Yeah, that feels really good. And I'm breathing a lot because it's big energy too. It's big energy. This is a big shift for you. And I think that it's going to feel to your human like this, like deep transmutation and transformation under the surface that's going to shift patterns that don't just exist in you now in this lifetime, but that have existed within your family line. Like this is a lineage shift for you. That's deeper. It's very much of service. And it's going to allow you to pace a little bit more naturally. Okay. Whew, that felt really good. I'm just going to take a breath here because that energy was big. Thank you for bringing that forward. I can just feel this for you. And I feel there's a lot of momentum behind it, Aurelius, like a lot of momentum. And that just feels really good for me. This is an opening. It's a soft opening for you. It doesn't have to be like I'm at the gate, bust through, like, let's get this done kind of opening. It's like a lean back, soft opening. Okay. All right, Lacey Gray. What can I do at this time to open or access any gifts I might have? Or where can I educate myself on them so I can understand them myself better? Okay. Interesting. Okay. They're talking about you going out into nature, which is interesting. 100%. Do you hike at all? They want you to hike or like go deeply into nature in some way. If you don't want to hike, don't hike. But they're talking about you going into nature and allow Mother Earth to show you, which is also interesting because what that tells me is I'm feeling shamanic energy and I'm getting big chills down my spine. I'm feeling shamanic energy coming through you, Lacey, coming into your field. And that doesn't mean that you need to be a shaman, because sometimes we just need to feel shamanic energy as an initiate into the unveiling of our gifts. And the one thing they're saying here is, as you're welcoming shamanic energy in, which is going to come through nature and connection with nature and connecting to nature spirits, and like even sitting with a tree and just, intentionally connecting to the spirit of a tree or a plant or a body of water or a mountain or something like that, right? As you're doing this, you're going to gain more information about your gifts, because it's almost, they're talking about like, it's going to sound silly, but almost like you're like a nature whisperer, right? Like you're in this space and you're able to communicate within nature and receive from that space. And again, this could be a stepping stone on your path and it could be long-term, but it feels more like a stepping stone, like again, a soft opening, like I was talking to Aurelius about just previously. Can you take classes to identify this? Absolutely, you can. Of course you can, but Mother Nature is going to be your biggest guide in this. You can even have like a shamanic guide kind of take you on a journey in nature. And they're saying don't get too caught up with the shamanic piece in like, there's a lot of talk in that about the underworld and like dark energies, and don't get caught up in all of that. That is not something that they're saying. That your spirit and your evolution is not here for that kind of deep dive. You're here for connecting to the lightness, like almost fairy energy, like the lightness of nature spirit energy. And that as you do so, if there are shadow parts of you that need and desire to be seen, they will arrive and you'll be able to move through them with a greater lightness of being and with the assistance of nature spirits, because you're not like intentionally diving into it to kind of move into an initiation, right? We want to be careful with the education piece because sometimes we can get caught up in like the structure and the scaffolding of it all as it's been created by another human being. You like to walk? Okay, great. Then walk in nature. And just be intentional in those ways. But nature is your gateway, 100%. And again, it's a gateway. This doesn't mean that like you're a shaman and that's what you're going to be. I don't feel that for you. I just feel like that is your gateway. Yeah, so that's what's coming forward for that. And what I'm going to share here too, for those of you who do desire to or want to be held in space as you kind of navigate this, I'm going to share the link to my upcoming events and programs, because for those of you who are a little earlier on in your intuitive journey and don't really know much about your gifts and want to learn how to kind of integrate them more into the body, you can look at my vitality program. That's ongoing. And that's something that will really help you bring this into the body. This is really the program that I created from being a therapist for 20 years to like really encapsulate all layers of ourselves in a sustainable way. Because it makes me crazy that so many people are going through all of these hoops, right? Trying so hard to work on themselves and just not getting there on a cognitive level. And it's because there's so many deeper layers there that need and desire to be excavated and to be worked with and to be known and to come into intimate relationship with your subtle energy, right? And when we do that, we really do have a pulse on our gifts and where we're going. So vitality is a good place to do that. But you'll also see that I have Akashic immersion starting up too at the beginning of September. So that's going to be on that events page as well. And for those of you who are local, you'll see that the Salt Cave is tomorrow. The last salt cave in the Lionsgate portal, where I'm going to give you guys Akashic healing. So if you're local, come. All right. SL, good morning. If possible, I'd like to know any general messages that my spirit team wants me to know. I've been feeling very sensitive and reactive this week. Welcome to the club. It's Lionsgate week. So definitely there's going to be a lot of energy, really. So please give yourself some space and grace. I'm just going to say that before I tune in. Okay. You're integrating and you're moving into a higher timeline and a higher version of yourself. The sensitivity is due to the fact that your awareness is heightening, that your awareness is heightened. And so it's okay for you to spend more time alone right now. In fact, you're being invited to. It's almost like you're trying too hard to be in the mix with all the other humans and like doing life the way that you normally do life and kind of thinking that there's something off with you or something that is a little bit amiss with the sensitivity and reactivity. Instead, it's like recognize that you are actually a vessel of this energy, because you wouldn't be feeling sensitive and reactive as much if you weren't, right? Like you're receiving and feeling this energy that's coming in from the cosmos right now. And so what I would encourage here, what they're encouraging is, yeah, taking that space and allowing that when you take that space for yourself to really intentionally move the energy that isn't yours to hold, right? Because a lot of this energy is coming through you and we can personalize it and make it about us. And then it gets stuck in our field. And then we make it about something that needs to be shifted within us when actually it was just moving through. And so I think when you offer yourself this space, you give it space for energy to move through rather than to become part of the inner workings of the nervous system. And that, right? Like, don't practice the energy in your mind to make it a narrative that becomes lodged in the nervous system and in the tissue. Instead, be and allow the energy to move through and give yourself space and ownership to say, I'm going to go cry. I'm feeling sensitive. I'm feeling reactive, right? And so in those spaces, particularly the reactivity, I just want to bring through something around that for you. They're bringing in this concept of playfulness around the reactivity for you. Like when the reactivity comes in, almost going like, right? Like having like a little tantrum and like letting yourself have that, because you recognize that all it is an intensity that's coming into the body that just desires to be released, seen, having space to have its own tantrum, right? You don't necessarily need to be in relationship with that energy, but you can witness that it's there and allow it to move through you. And don't make the reactivity about anyone or anything in your field. Instead, when the reactivity comes in, it's just kind of like, right? And then move on. And you don't need to go take your own space to do that. Like you can also do that around other loved ones and they're going to laugh, right? And they may even join you in it. I do this with my kids all the time. And it's funny and it's human and it's refreshing because it allows us to recognize that we all have shit we want to tantrum out, right? Okay. So let's see. All right. Next is BC. And welcome. I saw that you're new here, so thank you. All right. I was recently shown by the divine to get into Reiki. And I can see that you're mind blown about this. All right. So let me just feel into this for you, BC. That's where I started with Reiki. Beautiful. What's stopping you from getting into it? Like, just do it. Play with it. You can play with it yourself, right? Even just being here on this live, like I've been sending Reiki a few times. That's just naturally starts to come through my hands, right? Um, yeah, play with Reiki, meaning energy and just the movement of energy and the sensation of energy within your own field. You probably already do this if you're receiving this kind of messaging from the divine. You probably already do this and just start to kind of cultivate this within your field and that choice and that intention around it. And it will grow. But start with Reiki 1. Sign up for Reiki 1. What's stopping you? Right? Because it's beautiful energy. It's so loving. I don't know where to start. Well, if you want to take Reiki classes, I do offer them, and Reiki attunements as well. So we could certainly chat if you want to about that. And you can find information about it on my website, but you can also, if you prefer to do it in person, some people do prefer to do it in person, you can find something close to you as well. But I will give you the link to my digital store, and all you have to do is scroll down and read more about Reiki and how the process works. And if you have any questions on it, just shoot me an email. My email is emergehealingandwellness, @gmail.com. Okay. So you can always send me an email there if you have questions about it too. But honestly, like what I say is you're already getting this download from the divine. Follow it. And just start, right? Like start by dipping your toe in with Reiki 1. Taste it. See how it feels. Because Reiki 1 is really clearing the physical body, and it's giving Reiki to yourself, to plants, to animals, to objects, right? And just starting to play with the energy. So yeah, that's a good place to start. But I would just say go with it. That's the best way to expand your spiritual gifts, guys. It gets literally that simple. The divine tells you to do something, just go start exploring it. It doesn't mean like, oh, the divine tells me something and now I have to do it. No, we're not like locked in when spirit gives us something. We're in co-creation. So when spirit gives you something, put it on the table. Put it on the table with what comes up in your body, with what other sensations that you get in your field, and allow it to be part of it, part of your decision making, right? And so when you put this on the table, you're then starting to explore it. Okay, well, I put it on the table, but I don't really know about Reiki. All right, well, start to just learn about it. Start to read more about it. Start to consider signing up for a class. In the unfoldment of you following the invitation, you will have your answer, right? And sometimes that answer is going to be, yeah, I'm going to do Reiki. And sometimes it's going to be, okay, I followed this, but in following this, something else became available to me that feels much more aligned. Great. They gave you the first step to start to follow, to be able to access the clarity that was meant to be received by you at this time. Okay. Carmen, hello. I'm feeling a bit lost spiritually and in life in general, and I'm a bit frustrated with my current situation. Sorry. How do I find out what I'm meant to be doing? I'm probably going to do like 2 more questions, guys. Okay. I'm feeling a bit lost spiritually and in life in general, and I'm a bit frustrated with my current situation. Just going to send you some Reiki first. So we're never lost. We're just disconnected from our inner compass, which is our soul, which is our intuitive clarity, right? If you're frustrated with your current situation, they want you to remove yourself from it, not like in a physical way, but in terms of taking higher perspective, like zooming out, rising up, seeing things from a higher perspective. Interesting. Source is kind of like inviting you up to sit with source, which is funny because that's typically something that is a little bit more gradual as you're kind of getting back into the sensation of being spiritually connected. But source is like, nope, you're like, come right up here and sit with me. right? Come right up here and sit with me and take a bird's eye view of how these pieces are coming together in your life right now and the purpose that they're serving in your overall path, right? Frustration is a sign that you're not living in alignment with your natural way, right? With following your soul's urging. And so that doesn't mean the situation is not right for you. It means that you're meant to embody different energy within it, right? Within any situation. And the only way that we can truly know to do that is to be in that communion with our spiritual selves. And so it can feel that can feel frustrating because it's like, but I'm lost spiritually. So how do I get into that? So I'll give you an example. So yesterday during the day, I had kind of like 65 to 70% of a migraine, right? I used to get migraines all the time. I rarely get them anymore, although I've been getting a few more as the bigger energies integrate. But what I always tell people is this: if you're having trouble connecting for whatever reason, whether it is because you have a migraine, because you don't feel well, because your nervous system's freaking jacked up, right? Which I think your nervous system probably needs a little bit of grounding and soothing, Carmen. But when these things come up, it can be harder to connect with source and to connect spiritually. At which point, that's when I call in Mother Earth. And I'm like, lady, let's go, right? Like, come into my body, because that's more grounding energy. It's less higher consciousness and more of like a grounding energy that we can connect with and call in. That's still deeply nourishing and spiritual and alchemical in ways that feel more human, right? And less higher dimensional, because higher dimensional can be something that our nervous system really shrinks from when it's activated, but it's going to be more open to receiving Mother Earth because she's very nourishing and grounding and restorative. So I would play with that to begin. And even when I talk about higher perspective and sitting with source, call Mother Earth in first before you go up, or do both at the same time so that you have that grounding energy when you're connecting with source. So I would play with both options and see what that feels like in your body. Okay. Okay. All right. Sankala, you said you have a video on guidance about mixing these two energies from Mother Earth. If you watch the beginner's video from the Akashic Records, I do mix the Akashic energy and the Mother Earth energy as they come in the meditation before I sound the 5 sacred ohms to open the Akashic Records. So that's something you can play with. In terms of the one with like mixing the two energies and kind of soaking in it, I don't have that posted right now. I think I might have it in my membership or in my vitality modules. But what I will do is put it on my list to record that meditation and upload it to my YouTube. Because I've been mentioning it a lot lately, and it does feel like something that could benefit the collective. I'm just writing it down so that I can add that. Okay, cool. Thank you for asking. All right. You're so welcome, guys. Okay. Karthik, this is going to be my last question for today. I'm here because my wife wanted to try. I want to be a successful entrepreneur. I work and I also own a business. I want to be successful in multiple businesses. Will I succeed? Okay. Okay, so that question, will I succeed, is coming from a place of fear, right? It's coming from a place of fear around, I'm afraid I won't succeed. I'm afraid of moving into this entrepreneurship. I really want this, but I'm scared. But guess what? To me, it sounds like I feel a lot of momentum in your field around this. It feels like it's exciting and scary at the same time, which 100% means that this is your next step. Will you be successful? It depends on how you define success, right? Like for me, I could say I'm successful because I make a certain amount of money and have a certain amount of clients. I could say I'm successful because my definition of success is intimacy and spaciousness. And in that, I'm massively successful because I have so much spaciousness within my field, within my life, within my calendar, within my world. And I have so much intimacy that deepens every single freaking day with myself, with my loved ones, and with the divine. So it's defining success for you. And I think there's fear always with entrepreneurship around losing money, around failing, right? Can you detach from the outcome and recognize that, guess what? What do entrepreneurs do? They follow their dreams. They follow the energy of momentum that consistently pulls and says, babe, this is for you, right? You want to be successful in multiple businesses, great, then you will be. The invitation for you here is to allow your conviction to be greater than your fear, to allow your belief and your knowing and where you're being led to be larger than the tangible, concrete stuff that the mind focuses on to make this something that becomes quote unquote successful, right? So for me, it's like, there's no doubt in my mind. I'm like, follow this path, follow this path. There's so much energetic momentum behind it. I can feel it. There's a lot of momentum behind it. Use the momentum, ride the momentum, allow it to guide you, because the fear and the doubt is a speed bump. The fear and the doubt is an interruption on the path. Instead, make your goal to deepen your faith in what you're creating and what you're being guided to create. That is going to enhance your success more than anything else. I always tell people, like, if you want to enhance your business success, expand your consciousness. Expand your consciousness. Deepen your faith. That's the number one thing that's going to enhance your success in any area of your life. 100%. So I see all these people hiring business coaches, blah, blah, blah. And listen, I'm not saying don't. I've done that in the past too. But it's like, once you have enough data and information to navigate some of the systems, great. Get enough information that you navigate systems, and then focus on your faith. Focus on deepening your faith. And if you don't want to focus on deepening your faith in the divine, fine, don't. Focus on deepening your faith in you. Focus on deepening your faith and in your own heart, in your own energy, in your own momentum, in your own fervor, right? Allow that to grow. Feed your fervor in a very faithful, centered, paced way, so you don't burn out, right? Allow yourself to be led instead of leading, because that trying energy is going to burn you out. Okay? Yeah. I love you guys. This has been so beautiful. And for those of you who do want to just have someone hold you as you witness the enormity of who you are, reach out to me. I've been bringing a couple people on one-on-one lately, and the potency is just unbelievable that's been coming through. And granted, we're in a very powerful spiritual time, but it is unbelievable. So yeah, check out some of the programs that I dropped here so that you can see what's coming up event-wise. But I also just feel called to let you know, because I feel like there's somebody out there who might desire to receive this, that choosing to be in an intimate container with your own divinity can also be of deep, deep service as well. So thank you so much for being here. This community is awesome. You guys are always so supportive of one another and open and receptive and loving, and you integrate this stuff, and I just feel it. Like the energy in this community makes me so enriched, and I'm just so grateful. I love doing these. So keep your eyes peeled. I'll be doing another one probably in September. Until then, I dropped the link for my spiritual service earlier. That's again, complimentary on September 8th on Zoom. So it's a little bit more intimate than this, because we get to be face-to-face and dive into song together and just reverence of ourselves, of the divine. And if you want to jump in sooner and dive into one of my programs so that I can get to know your patterns more intimately and specifically, and really offer you that holding space to customize how this energy comes through you, to really identify, how is this energy coming through me? What is it calling me toward? Where is it taking me? And allow it to activate you in a way that also feels really grounding and really soft and really paced and deeply loving. Let me know. Reach out to me anytime. Shoot me an email. Let me know what's coming up in your field. You're so welcome. You're so welcome. Yes, if you guys are here live or on the replay, anything that's coming forward can also be for you if it feels resonant. So I appreciate you guys receiving and being here and being present for everyone else in this community. And I will see you very, very soon. I love you. Bye.